Hey guys, it's Chef Rootsy again from Veggie Grub. Today we are going to be making one of my favorite recipes. It's called tamales. That's Tamales. Some of you may have had experience trying tamales. It definitely is traditionally a Spanish dish. And the reason why I know about tamales and love tamales is because when I was a lot younger, in my 20s, I had a best friend and her mom, big up Mrs. Hazelwood, used to make the best. They used to have this big event for Kwanzaa every year. And because my friend, mom, she knew that her daughter and us and a few other people that she invited would enjoy vegan food. So she used to make vegan tamales because I had seen tamales being sold for many years, but always with pork and chicken and things like that. So I was so happy that she did that, and I looked forward to it every single year. So but I put a little flip on it because she used parchment paper to wrap the tamales, which you will see later on. I am going to be using parchment paper, which is basically like wax paper, but I'm going to also be using banana leaf. I wanted to get like a more earthier feel when I eat tamales because it really is like one of those foods that you could really enjoy eating with your hands. But anyway, we'll get back to the banana leaf in a second. And if you come on over here, we have, so basically the base of this ingredient is a whole lot of corn meal. So what happened is that Mrs. Hazelwood, she used to use hominy corn. This is a sample of the hominy corn in its form when you buy it at the supermarket. Okay, it looks like this. It's like big, it's basically like big chunks of cornmeal. And I remember like she would be in the kitchen hours because it did take quite a long time for me to turn this into this. Okay? And so this is actually, I've made this recipe quite a few times for my kids and my family, but I never used the hominy because I knew that the work that it took would be so much. So, but now that I have all this time, I had time to let the hominy cook. Yeah, so I decided to use the hominy today. Well, actually, I've been boiling it since like first thing in the morning, and it's probably like about 6 o'clock in the evening. But to make your life easy, because this is not a common product that you're going to find in your home, it also makes really good porridge, which I did save some of this, and I'm going to make a really nice porridge with it. But good old cornmeal is fine. I've used this for years. You know, it's a lot quicker. You know, maybe 20 minutes the most. All right, and you know that the recipe is at the bottom, so you will get all the ideas of what to do with the cornmeal. But basically, you know, I seasoned the water so that it could soak in. You know, because this is a very tasteless product, but it's also a very, very healthy product. We did cornmeal last week, remember, with the turned cornmeal, if you guys remember. So I have my skillet here heating up because we are about to get to the main ingredients. This is a really good recipe. Yeah, so this recipe can be really fun because, as I've mentioned several times to you guys, my children I would use as guinea pigs throughout the years to try out different things with them, and they used to love tamales, and mainly probably because they got to help. If you come over here, you'll see all the little ingredients that we have prepped, and they used to get their little hands in here and help me make the tamales and roll the tamales. Do you remember those days, Shakaya? You can say something. Yeah. They can't hear you. Yeah. So we're gonna do the tamales today. So we have our pot heated, and we are gonna use tofu. We're gonna make two kinds of tamales. One with tofu as the main ingredient, and the other with some mushrooms here. All right, and also tomato paste. You'll see everything when we start assembling everything. It's a weird concoction, but trust me, once it gets all together, it works. Okay, so I think our pot is ready. Let me just get something here. And we're going to get it in. So basically you want to slice your tofu like this. Okay, you want slices like that. and drain the water as much as you can. And as you guys know, my rule of thumb is I always put the protein in first and let it get a nice char and a brown. And then I start adding, if I have any aromatics, which I don't have any aromatics today, we add, our seasoning, and then we're going to move on to the mushrooms. Okay guys, so we got our tofu nice and brown. And we are going to start the seasoning process. Actually, we're going to throw our onions in. So we have some sliced onions. I had some red onions left over and they were getting a little soft, so I wanted to get rid of them. And I had a few pieces of yellow sweet pepper, so I'm just kind of throwing it all in. Alright, so we're going to get that in there like that. Ooh. Your tofu is kind of hard to cook when you don't squeeze out the juice. So make sure you do that. And also about the cornmeal, the hominy corn, make sure that when you make it, depending on how much cups you use, you have a large pot because it swells, okay? And you want to definitely have a large pot because you need to keep adding water as time goes on, as it dries out. So what I'm adding here is something called saffron. Let me see if I have the bottle. This is one of the seasonings that a lot of people use to give food an extra kick. It has a Spanish flavor to it, and it's very expensive. It's a very small bottle. If you're lucky enough to find it at places like Trader Joe's, which is where I snagged this one from, this was about $8. But I love to use stuff like this. I'm going to add a little bit, just like that. Nice. Do you see that? Those nice saffron flavors getting in there. Alright, so we're going to let our tofu and our onions get assimilated. Now we're going to add our seasonings. So we got a little bit of chili pepper. I don't want it to be, this is not something that needs to be too dark. I like the tofu, the color that it is. Well, basically I don't want it to get too red. As you will understand later. A little bit of black pepper. It's not a spicy recipe either, so if you want to spice it up, feel free. But traditionally, it's not a spicy recipe. I'm going to add some annatto seeds, the ground version. I love this. This is also another Spanish seasoning. It gives things that kick that you want. I'm just adding a little bit. It kind of reminds me of cumin. If you've ever had cumin, it's very similar to cumin. A little bit of obey here. Alright, tofu is one of those things everybody knows. Tofu is really hard to cook. People are always asking me, Chef Ruthie, how do you make your tofu taste so good? I can't make tofu taste horrible. This is some onion powder. We got it in. Now I do overload on onion powder and garlic powder, some of my favorite seasonings. And as I'm seasoning, I'm allowing the tofu to continue to brown. Like when you don't move it around, like, when you want to get a nice char on tofu, you have to let it sit and let the water dry out, whatever water is left in there, and allow it to brown. You can't, be mixing it around every 5 seconds. You have to allow it to brown and get a nice firmness. All right, so now we got all our seasoning. Oh, last but not least, liquid aminos. Because as I was just saying, tofu, it takes a lot to season tofu for it to have a good taste. Anybody that has ever taken my cooking class, anybody remember the tofu lesson? And, I had a cooking class quite a few years ago. And yeah, we did some tofu. We did tofu 3 different ways, and it worked out really well because people are baffled by tofu. Like, they're like, what do I do with this? Like, how do I make it get flavor? As you can see, this is deliciousness right here. And so we're going to let that simmer a few more minutes and then come back with the mushrooms. All right? No. All right, so we got our tofu. Let me show you the tofu, guys. Look how delicious that looks. All right, so we got our tofu. It has a little bit of gravy factor going on. The oil, we use a little bit of oil, olive oil. and the water from the tofu mixed with the oil, and then when the seasonings kind of mix with the water and the oil, it kind of gives you a little bit of a brown gravy. We didn't want too much gravy, but we definitely had some gravy. So now, if you guys notice, my pot still, you guys know I love to do this. I use the same pot, meaning like I didn't clean out the pot. I'm using the same dribblings, whatever was left over from the tofu. So I'm going to turn down my fire. Mushrooms cook very quickly. So I'm actually going to get my onions in there because the onions may probably take a little bit longer than the mushrooms. And I'm going to get my seasonings in there. And like I said, we basically are going to season it with the same seasonings that we use in the tofu. I'm getting a little saffron in there. I love that look, the little red pieces when they go in the pot. All right, so we'll be back when the mushrooms are done, and then we're going to get to assembling our tamales. Hey guys, so we are here, our mushrooms. As you can see, we also created a nice little gravy factor, not too much. Like I said, a little bit of oil. The water from the mushrooms, because mushrooms is also one of those things like tofu, it secretes water. And then, the seasonings plus amino acids, we have a little bit of gravy factor here. And if you come with me, so pretty much one warning is that when you do this, do not try to assemble your tamales right away unless you are very brave and have very heavy hands, because this food is piping hot coming out of the pot, and it's not wise to try to assemble the end product, right away. So we're gonna let this cool, and we'll be back in a few minutes to assemble our tamales. As you guys know, we were making tamales, and if you notice, I have a new outfit, which means that we had some technical difficulties with the tamales, so we had to wait until we got it together, because I haven't made tamales in so long. I have forgot one thing that I needed, which is this lovely product here, which is corn husk. This is the husk of corn, the skin around the corn, and it's it's dried. So I had to locate this, and like I said, I haven't made tamales in quite some time, so I had forgotten that was one of the things that I need. So when you do get the corn husk, you're gonna want to soak it, to make it a little bit more malleable. Soak it in some warm water, like how I have here. And we did do some tamales when we had that when we were finishing up that tamales demonstration. But I wasn't happy with the presentation, and I wasn't happy with, because I knew that something was missing. So these are the ones that have been frozen. Okay? So what we're going to do is, we're going to make one right now, because I did not get a chance to show you guys. Because what happened was, these were too hard. If you're a novice at this, and it's your first time, it was really, really hard to wrap these and know that the tamales ingredients is not going to spill out when you boil it. So basically, I wanted to make sure I have the easy version for you guys. So as you remember, we have some wax paper. Okay, you still need wax paper. You want a long sheet like this. Okay, and then I take some banana leaf. So what I did was I cut them into squares. The banana leaf, I cut them into smaller squares. I put them right here. Now let me just say, the banana leaf is not necessary, because the corn husk and the banana leaf kind of doubles as the same thing. But I'm gonna use the banana leaf as well today, and the corn husk. But like I said, you do not need the banana leaf if you cannot access the banana leaf. But if you eat, you have to have either the banana leaf or the corn husk. Okay. So then we're going to put this here. This is our corn husk, nice and soft. Oh, before I start, remember the hand sanitizer that we made? Remember, with aloe and lemon peel? I'm just going to give my little hand a boost. And like I said, this is food friendly because it's made from food. It's made from aloe and lemon. I mean, like, it can't get any better. No chemicals. Oh, and it smells delicious. All right, so remember, well, maybe you don't remember. Remember, this is our boiled course. Actually, it was hominy corn. If you remember, we had hominy corn and we boiled it for quite a few hours. And we're going to take a couple of scoops now and then put it, and you see how I have everything positioned? You put it right here in the middle of the corn husk. Because what happened with these previous ones that I made, why I wasn't happy, is because I did not have the corn husk. And what happens is the wax paper, even though it doesn't really leak and it's really firm, it's just better to have the banana husk for the boiling process. But as I said, I'm repeating, you do not have to have both. I'm just being fancy today, okay? You can have either or, but you definitely need a layer of something like the banana leaf or the corn husk. All right, so we're gonna fill this up. Remember, we doing a streamlined thing here. And so that is our hominy corn. And then we're gonna take a couple of scoops of our tomato paste. All right, bam. You know, and it's really up to you how much you like. I like a lot of tomato paste. I'm a tomato paste girl. So, you know, you can put less, you can put more. Okay, we're gonna drop some prunes in there. All right, this is all good. This recipe is gluten-free, it's soy-free, and it's nut-free, and it's extremely healthy. Okay, we got our olives. As I had mentioned before, I prefer olives with the pits in them, but it was a little challenging to find them, you know, in the areas I'm shopping now because due to coronavirus, I'm not shopping at the same places that I normally shop. So I put 4 olives because, like I told you guys, me and my family, we love olives. We're an olive family. We're going to put a few capers. These capers are very salty, so I'm just putting 2. And yeah, that's about it. So what we're going to do, as you can see, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot the most important ingredient. So as I said, I almost forgot the most important ingredient. But keep in mind, it doesn't matter what you put first. It's all going in the same wrap. So normally I do put my protein first. So what happened is that when we were previously making the tamales, we had tofu and mushrooms. So right now, I'm chewing on this because it's so delicious. We don't have any tofu or mushrooms, so we're using what we have, which is actually some, what was this again? It's some type of vegan beef tips. Chicken. No, it's not sesame chicken. It's some type of vegan. A matter of fact, big up Maywa. Maywa, one of the largest vegan/vegetarian food distributors in the world. They're located at 213 Hester Street in Manhattan. Big up Lily and the whole crew out there in Chinatown holding it down. All right. So, you know, I get a lot of my products from Maywa. And so anyway, so we're going to scoop some of our protein in here. And you want to definitely make sure you have some gravy because that definitely helps boost the flavor. As you can see, I'm pouring the gravy in and I'm going to put some of this in and it's looking pretty delicious. Like seriously, I can't wait to make this one. So now that we have everything, we're going to wrap this baby up. And yeah, this is definitely what I was missing because this security, I didn't have any of those and it really made a difference. All right, so you wrap that up. And like I said, once again, you do not need this banana leaf. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. And then we're gonna fold over. So the technique of the wrapping is, I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's more about common sense. I mean, I see that I have 2 open ends here. And the point is that I don't want anything squishing out. So I have 2 open ends. This wax paper is definitely very solid. It doesn't leak. So I'm going to fold this over. And I'm going to fold this over. And you know, you want to take your time. As you can see, I'm sitting because it's a bit of a process. And especially if you're making a lot. And that is a good thing. It's a lot of ingredients and it's a bit of a process. But it works out in the long run because you're going to have so much tamales in the freezer. Anytime you're feeling like, you know, you want something quick to eat, you just pop one in the pot and boil it. And we're going to show you that in a few minutes. So as you can see, I have a little injury right here. So we are going to get some more wax paper. So, you know, as I was saying, normally this does not happen. So I'm pretty surprised. But at the end of the day, never have any fear. If you have a rip or a tear, you just reinforce it with more wax paper, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be eating the wax paper. So as you can see, I folded it as much as I could possibly fold it securely. And then we're just going to wrap it. You know, if you've ever wrapped a wrap, it's pretty simple. You know, it's pretty much the same process. If you've ever rolled a spliff, it's kind of the same thing. You want to secure the product in the wrapping. All right, so now we're going to close this up. Again, you know, I'm doing the best I can do, because what happened is that even though we were able to procure the corn husks, but I did not realize I didn't have any more wax paper. So this is actually the last wax paper that I have. And at the end of the day, if you even are not confident about your wrapping, you can put these bad boys in a Ziploc bag and boil it. I prefer to not put them in a Ziploc bag. That's why I like to wrap them securely. But that is the worst case scenario, and it won't hurt at one bit. So I got a nice meal here. As you can see, this is a very filling meal. And now we're going to wrap this bad boy up, rootsy style. Boy. Okay, so now, and we just bought this string at the 99-cent store. And the purpose of wrapping is to kind of keep the paper in place, of course. And, you know, I'm still not happy with this wrapping because, as I said, I ran out of wax paper. But we're going to make it work. So like I said, don't have any fears. If you have any issues, just make it work. And you guys have my Instagram, you have my Facebook at Veggie Grub. You could always call, hit me up. You know, if you're making, you know, things and you have questions, you can hit me up. So I'm gonna wrap this, and as you can see, I'm kind of tying a little bow tie here. Well, I'm not gonna probably have enough for a bow tie. And this is gonna go in the freezer and freeze, and then I most likely will be putting this in a Ziploc bag because I still have a little hole here. But as I said, that is the worst case scenario. Put this bad boy in a Ziploc bag. We're gonna put it in the freezer. Don't look in my freezer. Actually, you can look in my freezer. It's just water bottles. And we're gonna boil one of these bad boys and enjoy it with you. So we'll be right back. Okay, so our tamales is ready. We're going to take it out. And, you know, this is the part that you have to be very careful because it's very hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty the water out of my pot. And just run a little cold water over this while I'm opening. There's going to be a burst of steam coming out. And I guess I had a little hole in my Ziploc bag, which I didn't realize because I definitely had some water in there. But I'm not too worried about it because I did wrap it very securely. And let's get this out of there onto a plate. Okay. Okay, so when you get your tamales on your plate, you want to have your scissors. You just cut these strings off and remove them. You don't want to end up eating string by accident, especially if, you know, kids are going to be indulging in this. Get that out of there. And we're going to open up. Thank goodness the wax paper is pretty secure. We do have some liquid here. So I'm opening up the tamales. And it's looking pretty good as hell. And we're gonna dig in. Now, of course, it's a little hot. You know, you wanna cool it. You know, I'm a chef, so I'm used to kind of dealing with hot stuff all the time. But, yeah, you know, let it cool and then you just dig in. And it's pretty hot, so I am going to wait a few seconds to take a bite. delicious. Like I said, a lot of people who've never had anything like this, or have even had like regular tamales with like just cheese. A lot of people put cheese and meat in it, things like that. The combination of the olives with the hominy corn, the tofu, the prunes, and the tomato paste is just insane. So I hope you enjoyed this. Try it at home. Don't forget it's Chef Rootsy at Veggie Grub. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook, or leave comments below the video. All right, see you guys later.